One of my favorite things about this time of year is that football is back, and although I love watching my New York Giants, who are off to their best 6-week start in years, I'm not a big fan of the NFL organization. They've made a few notable poor decisions in the last several years, one of which is the approach taken to rename the Washington team. I know this is old news at this point, but I didn't have this kind of platform when it was current, and I still think it's worth talking about. I wasn't surprised by the decision to retire the Redskins name, nor did I either support or oppose the decision. I didn't personally have a problem with the term Redskin. If you take the term at face value, it's not much different than referring to someone as black or white. But I realize that Redskins sounds a little more derogatory, even if that's only a learned point of view. So I get why people supported the name change, and I think it's fine that they're now the Commanders. What I had a problem with was the way in which the change was made. Various organizations started to openly oppose the team's name and logo way back in the civil rights movement of the 60s. Before the change was actually made, this had been an issue on some level for over 50 years. In 2013, a large group of religious leaders in Washington, D.C. sent a letter to Roger Goodell and team owner Dan Snyder, insisting that the team's name be changed. Both Goodell and Snyder defended it, with Snyder saying, "We'll never change the name, it's that simple." A year later, the organizations were involved in a well-known trademark dispute, in which Native American activists sought to prevent the Redskins organization from having the ability to maintain federal trademark protection for the team name. There were no serious efforts made within the NFL to change the name, or to even plan for a potential future change, until the political unrest following the 2020 death of George Floyd, when the Redskins name suddenly became so taboo that it had to be retired immediately. It goes without saying that if Goodell and the Washington organization had actually felt that strongly about it, a solid plan complete with a new team name would have been in place long before things got down to desperate measures. The fact that they'd sooner have a nameless team for 2 whole seasons than to call them the Redskins for another minute, after years of defending the name, indicates that the change was entirely a political move. The NFL caved to political pressure and felt that they had to call them the Washington football team in order to emphasize the inappropriateness of the Redskins name. They should have had a plan in place earlier, but once this didn't happen, they should have continued using the Redskins name until a new name was chosen and ready to be implemented. The Washington football team was just one of the many examples of the pandering and virtue signaling that went on during the COVID era, when the media incited social unrest under the guise of the George Floyd incident, because the left wasn't getting their way under a Trump presidency. If the team name had changed directly from the Redskins to the Commanders, there would be no reason for discussion, as the term Redskin was in fact outdated.